There it is. So I listened to Practical Social Media University. You guys might see these sponsored ads in your Facebook profile on your news feed. So I finally was like, you know what, I'm going to check this out and see what it's all about. So it actually is a company that Beachbody hired to like make all of these ads and ad campaigns and blogging and all of this stuff specifically for coaches. Tracy Morrow is one of the founding coaches, and she was actually part of the team that created this Practical Media University. So once I listened to that, I was like, oh, okay, this is legit. I can like actually use this information. So basically, I want to show you this picture, and I will put it up in the team page just so that you have it. If you can kind of see. So this is like the circle of how you use ads for your business. So I'll put the actual screenshot up in the team page so that you'll see it. So basically, the first thing that you have to have is a niche, which is your target market. So obviously you have to know who you're talking to and make it as specific as possible. If you notice, sometimes some of the top coaches and people who are really good at talking to their target market, if you're in their target market, you're like, oh my God, she made this post for me. This is just, she's talking to me. So if you get really, really specific about your target market, like my target market, for example, 27 to 35-year-old female. They're either married or in a long-term relationship. They're parents. They like outdoors. They like cooking. They like eating clean, holistic stuff. They also like girly stuff like makeup. They feel like they need balance in their life. They have a job in healthcare, whatever part of healthcare that is. They either are or used to be a party girl with a lot of drinking and going out and that type of stuff, because I feel like that's me and that's who I connect to. So the more specific you can make your person in your target market, the better chances you'll have of actually connecting with those people that you want to work with. So figure out, like, draw a picture of a person in your mind, like an exact person, everything about them, and then make all of your posts to that girl or that guy. And then the next part is your brand promise. So a lot of people have this down. Some of us are still working on it. So it's that promise where when somebody comes to your page, they know what they're getting. So what do you promise your followers that they can't do for themselves? Like Erin does a great job at doing clean eating recipes and workout moves. Like, you know, when you go to Erin's page, you know exactly what you're going to get. You know exactly what you're going to get when you go to Trey's page, when you go to Lindsay Matway's page. Like all these people, if you go to them, you know exactly what you're going to see. So you have to be specific in your posting. So figure out what is that thing or those 3 to 5 things that you want to promise your niche market and always deliver to them. And then the third part of this little circle, which is huge, and a lot of us, I don't think have this, but it's from what I learned in this webinar, this is really, really important to keep things flowing with your business. So they're saying that if you have a blog, that is like the hub of your business. Because really, we can't control anything on Facebook. We just have a profile on Facebook's website. So if you have your own website, you have total control over what happens there. You are in charge of what content is up there, what people see, where people are directed. And Facebook picks and chooses for us. You know, we can kind of figure out the rules and hopefully get our stuff seen, but ultimately Facebook decides what is seen and what is not. And we know that like 20% of our posts are seen by all of our following, which is pretty sad. So if you work everything based on your blog, you're directing people. So you're saying, hi, I just wrote an article, go read it on my blog. Oh, you want to sign up as a coach? Go to my blog. Like everything is linked, and this Practical Media Practical Social Media University, they made a blog where you can buy a domain name, and they made it specifically for Beachbody coaches. So everything updates, like I had a website and I was like, oh my God, I have to update the challenge packs every month, and I have to update everything, and this one does it for you. I'm not sure how much it costs. They were saying something about $13.95 a month and some sort of a promo, but I didn't really look into the details. But you can go to that website and look at it yourself, but it's completely for coaches. So that makes it nice because it's less work, which ultimately we'd like to do more with less. So the blog was a huge, like they talked about it. This webinar was like an hour and a half long. They talked about blogging forever. So the next part about your blog is you have to have content on your blog to drive people to. So basically, content has to be three things. It's got to be relevant to your audience. It has to be engaging and compelling. And it has to trigger some sort of an action. So your blogs can be purely informational, but if you want to make multiple blogs, they should almost all have some sort of trigger action step, call to action at the end. So they said that content obviously drives everything. And so I was sitting there thinking, what do you write about? Like, how do you make all these blogs of, where do I even start? So they said, think about, this will give you 15 topics to blog about, which could be, if you do one blog post a week, that's 15 weeks of content, which is a long time. So think of your top 5 objections that you get for coaching, for a workout program, for Shakeology, for whatever. Your top 5 objections, there's 5 blog posts. And then instead of repeating yourself every single time you get that objection, you'll say, oh, go to my blog and read, because I already know what you're going to say and I don't have to repeat myself. Go read my blog post that I wrote on that, and then, let me know what you think after you read why I don't think that Shakeology is really expensive and a waste of money. The next thing is 5 unmet needs of your target market. So those can be physical unmet needs, financial, emotional, stuff like that. So you can kind of brainstorm, what is it that my target market needs from me? And then write 5 blog posts about each one of those. And then the other topic was 5 ways that you can help. So this person's example, the coach that was co-running this webinar, he is a police officer. So his entire business is run around first responders. He caters to cops, firemen, paramedics, and military. And he says, like, I was 100 pounds overweight. I've thought every day, like, how am I going to get out of my car and go run after this bad person because I'm going to have a heart attack and die. Like, so if you are your target market, it's that much easier to say, hey, I was there. I know what you need. I know how to do it. I can help you. And then it just solidifies everything that you're doing. So you can think of 5 different ways that you can help your target market. I made a YouTube video on how to still lose weight and drink on the weekends, because that was my initial struggle when I started losing weight. I was like, how am I going to go out? Oh boy. And Erin actually told me vodka and what is it, tonic water? Yeah. So that was my go-to. And then the next thing, once you kind of get your target market in and you're building a relationship with them, you have to make an offer to them. So when you make these ads, so this whole, the thing that drew me into this whole webinar was spend $45, which seemed, initially I was like, oh, it seems like a lot. I've only spent, a few dollars on ads, maybe a total of $15 for like a 5-day run of ads. But this person was saying, run an ad for 3 days. Make your, like your top out dollar amount be $45 and speak directly to the person that you see in your target market. So whatever person you envision in your head, create an ad directly to them and make it emotional, make it speak to their emotions, and make it tell them why they should work with you. And you can start off with free stuff, but sometimes these people will jump right on and they'll immediately buy something from you. So you make this ad and you run it for 3 days. And I had screenshotted some examples from this webinar. I can put those up in the team page too, because they're helpful to kind of see what, I mean, his target market obviously may not be your target market, but it gives you an idea. So you run these ads, and then he has these based off of his blog post. I currently have them housed in Google Drive, but wherever you have them, you have these people who are interested fill out a long form. So it's basically a form that says, you know, your name, your email, why you're interested, where your struggles are. I think Erin has these for her challenges, and I have a couple different ones that I've kind of toyed around with. If you want templates to kind of go by, I actually copied some from Brandy Bots because hers were really good. And it tells you that people are serious, because if somebody isn't going to take 10 minutes to sit down and fill out a form to tell you why they want to be in your challenge group, but for me, I don't want to work with you. If you can't take the time to tell me what your problems are and where you need to go, then you're not serious about it yet. So this person is saying that he does these ads for 3 days. And he only does this because he's a full-time cop, and this is all he has time to do, because he gets too many people, and he's like, I don't have enough time to help all of you. And I'm like, oh, that's a terrible problem to have. So he gets typically a month out of these 3 days of ads, 22 people to fill out a form. Then this is key. He schedules phone calls with each and every one of them. I don't know if you guys talk to on the phone with your prospective clients. I have on occasion, but it's not a common practice for me, but it needs to be, because if you get on the phone with these people and they hear your voice and they hear how excited you are and you get to talk to them, it's such a better connection than just, you know, typing on a screen, or even, I mean, FaceTime works too, but really like talking to them. So out of those 22 forms that get filled out for this particular person, he gets 20 phone calls, usually in a month. Out of those 20 phone calls, 15 people buy a challenge pack. That's a pretty good closing ratio. And he said, sometimes I run my ad for 4 days if I have an extra day off that month. I'm like, oh, sometimes. So think about how much time you would save if you spent 3 days recruiting. And for 3 days, you talk to people, they fill out forms, you're making phone calls, you're like hustling really hard for 3 days. Then you're done. You have 15, 20 challenge pack sales, and you're done for the month, and you don't have to worry about it until next month. And maybe, you know, those are really high numbers for a lot of us, but you know, maybe you get 10 challenge pack sales a month. Yeah, that's $600 in commissions on just the cheap challenge packs, and you spent $45 and 3 days of your time. So it's when you look at investing back into your business, sometimes you think, oh yeah, $45, is it gonna work? But try it out. Like, you can write it off on your taxes. If it flops and it doesn't work, you can take that $45 and write it off. But I would invest $45 every single month to get that type of return. And you could do it for coaching too. You can make your posts towards recruiting coaches for your team. You know, so maybe a week out of the month, you're recruiting really, really hard and you're hitting these huge giant numbers. And then you're just helping people for the rest of the month and doing whatever you want to do. So he talked about doing, plugging these people from blogs into free groups and doing stuff. So you can kind of toy with whatever you want, however you want to schedule it and start it for yourself. You can even roll these people from free groups into challenge groups, depending on what they have going on. But for $45, and it'll take a little bit of time, especially if you're going to do the whole get a blog and, do that whole process. But, if you spend half an hour, 45 minutes on it a day, you could probably bang it out in a week, I'm guessing. And then, make a few posts that you can recycle. And then you have them as in an arsenal to use. And every month, that's just what you do. Like these dates, I run these ads, I sign people up for challenge groups, I move on. So I found this webinar very, very helpful. And I'm going to start doing this. I'm going to do the whole blog thing, right? I'm going to do everything right out of the gate and kind of see how it works, because it can't hurt. It's only putting ourselves out there more. So I don't know if anybody has any questions or input or ideas. What time is it? Oh, I talked really fast. I'm really good. We've got some time. So I don't know. Are you guys did you all mute yourselves because you're like that awesome, or did I mute you?
I love it. I'm going to try it. Ads work well for me. I might get 5, but I don't spend a lot either. But I think the form thing is so key. Because like you said, if they don't have 5, my forms are so easy. Like if you guys went, you could go look at my form. If you're looking, just go to Results Matter Fitness. It says about you. That's what they fill out. If you can't take like 3 minutes to fill it out, then you're not serious.
Yeah. And it's really, right? It's not that much to fill out. It's like, why do you want to do this? Where do you struggle?
Erin, and now you captured their email address.
You do this on the ads that you run, Erin? Yeah, because you know what? I ran an ad and I got like 50 emails, no joke. And I talked to every single one of them. Do you know how many people actually bought something? Zero.
Yeah. I felt that people filling out the ad, I at least had some ammunition to, like when I emailed them back or Facebook message, just depended. I usually email. I would say, read through, and then I would kind of personalize it to them. Are they struggling with this? Do they not work out? Are they workout people, but their nutrition sucks? Like stuff like that. And I just found that it worked a little bit better, than just saying, say if you're interested, because we all know that everybody's interested, and then they see your message and they never respond back to you.
Yeah. Exactly. Like, I know you read it. Did you, Jessie, I have a question for you. When you did that ad, how specific did you make your target market on your ad?
Honestly, I ran several ads, but the one I'm talking about, sorry if you can hear my girls, is the one Trey ran, and he said, copy me. And I did. And I had ridiculous amount of traffic. It was like way too busy for me, but I'm trying to remember. It was, if you want, I think it was specific towards, if you want a small amount of time to work out in, if you're sick of not seeing results, I think that was it. But I don't think it was like targeted towards like stay-at-home mom or, something like that.
And when you do an ad on Facebook, like when you pick who's going to see it, you can make it so specific that it's like time consuming. You're like, okay, I got to look through this. Where do they live? How much money do they make? What do they work? What do, are they parents? Do they have a Boston Terrier dog? Do they have an invisible fence in their yard? Like, you can make it so specific that if you really, really hone in on your target market, you can just go through and be like, well, Sally Q, who is my target market girl, this is what her life looks like. And then those are the only people that are going to see your ad. So, I've gotten kind of specific, but not like, this is the person that I want.
Right.
And they're saying that it helps. So,
and you guys probably notice, like, I see ads from coaches that are like me.
Me too. I'm like,
so that they're targeting, That's one thing Chalene Johnson said in Marketing Impact is like you said, picture who exactly your target market is. Like, I know for me, it's people that have been overweight or people just are struggling because I've been there. You know what I mean? So I know that's kind of for me where it might be different than Amanda or somebody else. So I think it works.
I think it works too. So it's worth a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Look how much $600.
I know.
Like, I mean, even if you got 10 people, you know,
and think about then, that doesn't include your team cycle bonus. That doesn't include the residual. Like when you're doing this for multiple months, like that's how your business is going to really
yeah.
grow.
Not even to mention like that doesn't even include like I'm huge on referrals.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, once I always say like once they kind of fall in love with you and they'll want to tell everybody about you. Yep. You know, so think of how many people you could get from just referrals, you know?
Yeah. And I think too, it's a good avenue to take. Like I was just listening to a podcast that basically was like, what do you do when you have blown through your entire warm market? Like you've talked to every single person that you know, and I've been coaching for 3.5 years. Like my mom's like, I am not buying another challenge pack from you so that you can hit Success Club. And I'm like, but I'll sell the Shakeology. I'll buy the program from you. I just need 2 points.
We've all done that. I know. Oh, God.
I know. My mom's like, I'm not doing it for you anymore. So, I mean, if you've been doing it for a decent amount of time, or even if you haven't been doing it for a long time, but you are like blowing through invitations for people, you're going to run through your warm market pretty fast. So this is the next step. Like all of my warm market people have either told me, no, get away from me, or they're on your team, or they're challengers with you, or whatever. So, I mean, there's millions of people on Facebook. So
I hate when people say, I don't know anybody. Well, guess what? Start knowing some people. So.
Yeah, write a list.
Start talking to people.
Think
That's
of
all I
everybody
do every day.
and write them down.
Yeah, I know.
So I'll try to make like a little folder of this, because I was like just taking pictures of my computer because it was easier than writing all the notes. So I'll post those up so that you guys can see them, because seeing the wordage of how, and his target market isn't ours, but it made it a little bit easier to be like, okay, that's how it's structured, and that's how you write it. Because I mean, he's getting 30 Success Club points a month at least, and working full time as a cop.
I mean, and think about this too. Like, so we're all business owners with Beachbody, but I own a brick and mortar business. It is so nuts to run an ad in the Observer Dispatch. Like $500. And who the frig reads a newspaper anymore? I mean, really, I do, but like Sundays through the ads. Like everybody.
I need to lose weight. Let me look at the classifieds and see what's going on. Like
if I want to know the weather, I go to WKTV on Facebook page. You know, so you have to think about that as far as like how ridiculously cheap $45 is.
Yeah. And like radio ads are, I mean, you run a radio ads for your studio.
$1,500 for a friggin' radio ad that I never even heard on the radio.
I heard it. I did hear it. So it worked. I did hear it. But yeah, it's ridiculous. So $45, I mean, you spend $45 on some books.
Yeah, and you're like building that relationship with that person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're going back and forth. I think it's a great investment.
Yep. So those were my takeaways, and I'm gonna start it. I mean, I'm not telling everybody like go buy a website and get a blog and do all this stuff, but it definitely will help.
I'm already going there. I'm going.
Everything's together. Yeah, I'm gonna do it too.
You'd be perfect at a blog, Jessie.
Oh my gosh, my husband won't leave me alone about starting one. I'm like, I know, such pressure.
No, you just have such great posts and all that stuff. I think it'd be perfect.
And you word things really well.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
You're interesting to read. I like it.
Yeah.
Good, thank you. I don't
can actually spell, and I can't spell, so people know that.
No, I'm horrible. Ask Mal. I spell check all the time.
Not me. I call my husband. How do you spell that? He goes, we can tell you're from Rome. Oh God.
Oh my God. Well, that was everything that I had, and we're
perfect. Love it.
Get out the other webinar.
Bathroom and then get on the other call.
Yeah,
I will
before
see you girls.
Phil's.
Bye.
Bye, guys.